certain things on the screen, I'll be able to actually just physically highlight with the mouse what I'm talking about. So, I'll just load up this file. So, first things first, I think, the best place to start is just with City Escape. So, this is the first tutorial I'm trying to make, and this is going to be a beginner's guide to City Escape. I'd like to make a set of tutorials for every stage, and by that I mean I would like to have tutorials to show the beginner level, an intermediate level, and then an advanced level. So like, beginner level times are just going to be for people starting out running the game, getting a grasp of the fundamentals, and showing target times that you can go for by hitting certain like important things throughout the stage. Intermediate will just be when you're sharpening up your skills, and advanced times will be for like when you're actually trying to go for top times and showing how far you can push the stages. So, like I said, this is going to be City Escape, and I'm going to be showing, I have my splits on.
I think it's dead anyway.
I'm just going to be showing going through the stage as a beginner. This is actually convenient, since you can see I'm still messing around in my split window, and I started by not doing any directional input. You don't strictly need directional input to start City Escape, so it's pretty easy to start that off with. I'm predicting, going through the stage with beginner strats, that I'm still going to be able to fairly easily finish the stage in like 2:20, maybe 2:30 at a push, but really 2:20 is the target time that I'm going to be going for. And that is with no skips. It's with very basic movement tech, so I'm not like going to be doing efficient spin dashing everywhere even. A lot of beginners, I see them using homing attacking as the main form of movement. Like, it is not the fastest form of movement, but it is the easiest to use as a beginner. And like, it gets the job done if you're just starting out with the game. So you're going to be seeing me really homing attacking everywhere to gain ground speed instead of spin dashing. I will insist though on beginners learning how to spin dash down hills, so you will see me do that as well. So you can see like, no spin dashing, but just know where you need to go through the stage. Somersaults to break the boxes. Spin dash to go faster down a hill. That happens, it's fine. So don't bother taking the ramp, it's not faster to take that ramp there. You just want to spin dash down the hills. Like, taking the ramps, it looks flashy, but it's not necessarily faster. When you get to this section, I mean, I should have maybe highlighted a little what I was doing on the upward slope that I just took, but the physics in this game are very dynamic, and if you jump while you have forward speed on an upslope, you'll get a lot more height, which is why that jump I did just went so high, and you can clear it very easily. As for this staircase here that I'm currently on, just off the top of the screen in the center, there is a beetle, an enemy in the center of the staircase, that if I just run up the center of the staircase, I'll run right into him. For this staircase, even at a beginner level, what you want to do instead is just run up either the very left or very right hand side of the staircase. I mean, if you homing attack up the staircase, you're probably going to attack it anyway, but if you just spin dashed up the very left side or the very right side, you will just avoid the beetle without needing to touch it. Even beginners can aim to do that. Oops. Again, spin dash hills where you can. Probably, yep, get launched off hills if you're a beginner, that's fine. You want to jump into this spring so that you'll land on the rail. Try and use directional input to get around the rails cleanly. And chances are you're going to get your momentum like stopped here. It's possible to conserve your momentum going through this little section with precise movement. But chances are, beginner learning the games, this is a very fast section. It's very easy to lose your speed, so I would not at all be disheartened if you find yourself losing speed or getting stopped here. Like, it happens, and every single time you lose your speed, it doesn't cost very much time. It's only like a couple of seconds at most. So rather than taking this pulley on the right here, you want to instead go to the left and jump over this fence here. And just avoid the enemies around here. And just go down the skyscraper here. As long as you run through this, it should be pretty easy to do every time, and at this point I'm continuing to hold up on the control stick just to keep Sonic running down the skyscraper. One thing that you can aim to do when you're reaching the bottom of the skyscraper is jump off it before you hit the springs at the bottom. Because if you just continue to run down the skyscraper, you'll hit a set of springs at the bottom which will give you a very high jump, and it's not necessarily what you want. So typically what I do is I wait to see the shadows that are passing Sonic, and once they've generally, a lot of them have passed him, I just jump away from the wall. Like this. So, With this pit, you can jump across. You can do a spin dash jump across it. If you're really scared of it, though, there's nothing wrong with just homing attacking the beetle, and then homing attacking once again to the second set of platforms, and then again onto the spring. The main thing when you're using homing attacking to move is just to not panic and overcommit with like too much control stick, because it's very easy in this section to overshoot where you're trying to go with a homing attack. So hopefully, I'm just going to demonstrate getting through here with homing attacks, but not shooting straight into the pit. So I'm not immediately homing attacking again here, it's fine to just land it, I'm just going to jump naturally to the next platform. And now I can jump and homing attack into the spring. There's no need to homing attack every time you do a jump, and on platforming sections like that, it will likely give you too much speed to be able to easily handle. As I go through this archway here, there's an enemy that's going to drop down. The easiest way to deal with it is just to jump as you're going through the archway, homing attack into the enemy. Once you destroy the enemy, just homing attack straight ahead onto the rail. Like this. So for these rail sections, transitioning from the end of one rail to the beginning of the next rail is something that I see a lot of beginners struggling with. And I mean, to be fair, it looks like a section where you need some precise movement to be able to make it from rail to rail. But since Sonic is just moving straight along with the rail is directly aligned with the next one. So there's no deviation left or right wise where one rail ends and the other begins. So in other words, if you just use directionless input, then Sonic will naturally go from one rail to the other. So at this point, I'm not holding the control stick at all. I'm only going to be using jump inputs. I'm not even going to try like homing attacking onto the next rail to spice it up or anything. You can literally just jump from rail to rail. For that rail that I just jumped off, it's important to try and have enough left input when you jump off that rail, because that will give you a rail switch jump rather than a regular jump. A rail switch jump is when the game launches you in the direction that you're holding after jumping off a rail, because there are many rail sets in this game where they are parallel to each other and you may just be able to rapidly jump left, right between them. It's useful to do there because it prevents you from falling in this pit right here. Because at the very bottom of that rail, if you're just holding forward on the control stick, it has a tendency to launch you straight forward and lock your controls at the same time, and you will just land straight in the pit if that happens. So I instead prefer to go for a rail switch jump by holding left as I jump off that rail to make sure that I land over here instead. And even if you get stopped by landing on this corner, it's like you've at least not died. It's much better than just dying in the pit here. So just going to ascend the last staircase here, somersault through the barrier, and then it is the truck section, which you can stand to lose a lot of time on. So the main problem with the truck section is, like, again, okay, so let's say we just do a spin dash down again. Main problem with the truck section is there's a lot of obstacles, like stuff like that ramp that you can hit, or if you're going too fast you can end up just coming off hills, like right there. Happens very easily. There are definitely methods to get through the truck section in one piece, but that's more of like an intermediate level trick. The main thing with the truck section is you just want to try and get through it at all. You do want to end the truck section on the very right hand side of this last hallway here though, because if you're hard against the right wall and as long as you are still moving into the zippers like that, you'll just get launched straight into the goal ring. And as I suggested here before, this is still finishing the stage with just under a 2:30 time. Like this is going to be a high 2:27 or a low 2:28. So I'm going to restart the stage. I'm going to just play through it like a complete beginner. And I mean, I was taking like little time losses here and there to just show how different parts work. I'm just going to do the whole stage in one segment, commentating little things as I'm going. And I wouldn't be too surprised if I finish within 2:20, even with complete beginner strats. So again, no need to use directional input when you start here. You only need little taps on the control stick to influence Sonic's direction here, and you want to jump off these individual ramps. The closer you can jump off the edge of the ramp, the more distance you'll get, but you don't always want to do that. Like for that ramp just there, it's actually not preferable to jump off the very edge of the ramp because you risk flying into that far wall. We'll just continue on. Flying into the air everywhere. jump here if you can to just make it appear. Got a light dash there, which you won't have in Hero Story, but it's whatever. Again, jump into that spring. Try to get around these rails without losing too much speed. Chances are you'll lose speed here quite a lot when you're learning the stage, but it's fine. Avoid that pulley and just jump over here instead. On the skyscraper, just continue to hold up here. And if you lose speed here, it's no big deal. Only attack the enemy and onto the rails. And truck section. Okay, one hill without any accidents. Just simulating getting a bit of an accident on that hill. So let's say we don't get a quick entry into the goal ring by not being on the very right. Still ending up with like a 225-ish. These are fairly elementary times to get, and it's really just more about fluidly going through the stage without any major hiccups more than anything else. So that is a beginner's guide to City Escape in a nutshell. I will, in a separate video, be recording a more intermediate approach to City Escape, in which the target, rather than going for a 220, 230 time, will be getting under 2 minutes without using the skip. It's perfectly easy to get, well, not easy to get, but it's perfectly manageable to get with using more advanced strats and still without going for the skip, but it requires you to be using good movement fundamentals. So that's what we'll be seeing in a later video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and any questions, like leave a comment or get me on Discord, just ask whatever you want, and I will help you out with whatever I'm able to.